I wanted to touch on some defenders because it's another area of the field that Liverpool are looking for reinforcements in. We've seen the shift in strategy towards the back end of the season, which meant Andy Robertson coming as the left-sided centre-back. Konate had a hell of a lot of work to do. Did it really well.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a lot of work to do on the right-hand side. Now, there was a report this week, I think Fabrizio Romano tweeted it as well as James Pearce, saying it, that Liverpool in an ideal world would go and get a left-footed centre-back to sort of fill two roles on that side. Now, I think in an ideal world again, Josko Gvardiol will be that man from RB Leipzig because he's just absolutely superb. Now, I don't think they're willing to sell, or they're unlikely to be anyway, and if they are, it's going to be a huge amount of money, and you already mentioned the non-astronomical budget that Liverpool are likely to have. So instead, there's been some different possibilities knocking around, and one of them is Micky Van De Ven. Now, Liverpool have been linked with him in recent weeks. He's 22-year-old. He does fit the bill in terms of being left-footed. Again, he made 33 appearances just last season, and he's made 41 appearances all in all since moving from FC Volendam. There is a Jörg Schmadtke connection there. I wanted to ask you if you've been impressed, and I know it's not a huge sample size to go off, but just how good is this kid potentially going to be?
I think for Liverpool, he'd be perfect if they could pull it off, because what you want somebody who's going to come in, be capable of playing first team football, but also be aware enough that you're part of a massive football club and you're not going to play every game, and you're going to be heavily rotated in that regard. So he's somebody that could definitely come in and work with, learn from Virgil van Dijk and grow in that way. Schmadtke obviously knows him really well. Schmadtke heavily involved in bringing him to Wolfsburg in the first place. And Ajax wanted him. Ajax thought they were there. They were very, very keen. They were going to bring him in from Volendam, and Wolfsburg nipped him, managed to get him. He's played almost every game in the Bundesliga this season. I think until late in the season, it was only him and Matthias Ginter who'd played every single minute. And Ginter went on to complete that, and Van de Ven didn't. But he's quick, he's decent on the ball, he seems to love defending, and he's pretty solid considering his age, considering his relative lack of experience. So, yeah, not the finished article. You'd expect that at his age. And if they could come to the right deal with Wolfsburg, then, yeah, I could absolutely see that making sense, because he'd be a perfect fit in terms of a squad role. And again, you've got to then convince him that he's going to be a decent part of it. Again, this is always the problem with bringing in young players, or actually any player. You've got to say to them, look, we know we've got really established 14, 15, 16 players, but you've got a genuine chance of getting in. Because the one thing he won't want to do, having played all that football for Wolfsburg, is step in and start 5 games. That's no player's going to want to do that. So I understand the target. I think it'd be a great signing for what Liverpool needs. There are a few hoops to jump through, I imagine. And Wolfsburg tend to be a club where there is a price for everyone. So if Liverpool can get to that number, that's something I think they could probably do.
Interesting, yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. I didn't expect you to be as sold. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised by that. I think, like you say, it does make a lot of sense for what we're looking to do. And I actually think sort of on the amount of football front, and this goes for a lot of Liverpool youngsters who are already at the club, by the way, as well. I know we've seen Calvin Ramsey's heading out on loan yesterday, which might mean Conor Bradley steps up essentially. But this is looking like a quite young squad actually moving forwards, like Ben Doak, Bobby Clark, obviously you mentioned sort of Fabio Carvalho, who knows what happens with him, but Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. I actually think Europa League will be a benefit in that sense, because you can offer these youngsters more Europa League games than you could Champions League. Like you can't throw Micky Van De Ven in instead of Virgil van Dijk when you've got Napoli away, for argument's sake, in the first game of the Champions League, which Liverpool always seem to have. But if it's the
traditional fixture,
exactly. If it's a different club, I don't want to disrespect anyone, or a different club in the Europa League, maybe you can give these youngsters a game. So yeah, I think Liverpool could actually benefit from that in the long term, and I wasn't saying that 2 months ago, let me tell you. Just finally, I've got one last player, and it's over on the other side now, because I mentioned there's a bit of a dispute going on about whether we need the right-sided one or the left-sided one. But the final one is Jurrien Timber. Now, I originally wanted to speak to you about Benjamin Pavard, but our very own Neil Jones quashed those links quite quickly yesterday. So, Jurrien Timber, 21-year-old, soon to be 22-year-old Dutch international, plays right back and plays centre back, and he also spoken about the possibility of moving. I think it was just yesterday. I think he said, "Will I stay with Ajax anyway? I'm not sure." So he's not convinced. Where do you stand on Timber in terms of his ability and a potential move to Liverpool?
I like him. I do like him. I think he's shown his quality at international level. He's shown his quality for Ajax. Good on the ball, confident bringing it out, which is what you want. Somebody who could deal with playing that high line that Liverpool do. But you never, when you're moving from the Eredivisie to a real top league, with all respect to the Eredivisie, Ajax dominate most of their games. Has been tougher for them this season. Obviously, Erik ten Hag is a big fan, has worked with him. So United have been very, very strongly linked with him, and understandably so.
Yeah.
He's somebody that Louis van Gaal likes. And if Van Gaal likes you, that's generally a good sign, because he doesn't like that many players. So if he likes you, that's a good sign. So, again, a good player and somebody who I think could absolutely do a job for Liverpool. I think the thing you've got to be always a little wary of, I think, is, again, for me, Konate is an enormous talent. Enormous talent. And for me, when he's fit, he has to start. Mm-hmm. That would be the way I would always look at it. And I know every top clubs want competition for places. I get that. You always want that situation. But I'd be slightly skeptical about anything that threatens Konate play. And I know Konate's had injuries, so I get that.
Yeah.
So people will be screaming in the comments, yes, but he's injured lots. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But I do think he's got to be top dog going forward, because he can do it. He can absolutely do it. So, look, Timber would be a good signing. Again, you've got to convince him, is he going to play? He sees Van Dijk there as well and goes, I know he's pretty good. But yeah, a top club like Liverpool wants top players, and he has potential, considering he's so young. He's played a lot of football at a high level. So yeah, if Liverpool were to make that signing, that is an exciting signing. Whether it will happen is a completely separate issue.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of my chat with Kevin Hatchard. I'm sure you'll agree he's absolutely amazing, and he knows some stuff about some footballers in Europe, doesn't he? If you want to hear more what I spoke about the likes of Manu Kone, Ryan Gravenberch and Gabri Veiga, then head to redmenplus.com and sign up as either a club captain or a club legend, and you will watch the show or listen to the show in full. And I also want to let you know, this morning I spoke to Martin Ziegler of The Times, the man who brought us the story that the Premier League are looking into the possibility of a spending cap, some increased regulation in the Premier League around finances. A fascinating conversation, and that will be on Redmen Plus very shortly as well. So go there and check both out.
Hey, our 3-part documentary series, Bobby Firmino, Best in the World, is being released this June. And if you head to redmenplus.com and sign up, you're going to get early access to episode 1, exclusive access to episodes 2 and 3, and you're also going to get the full interviews with all of the contributors, including Jordan Henderson, Adam Lallana, Ian Rush, and so many more as well. Head to redmenplus.com.